The GU sisters knew I was their task taker, and after knowing I had the ability for infinite resurrection, they made a deal with me. Since you love us so much, then as long as you can take the place of Jingnian to block disasters 100 times, we will marry you together. Facing their sincerity, I believed it. The first time was when Song Jingnian was followed by a pervert. Gu Ruoxi and Gu Suetang made me change into Song Jingnian's clothes to confuse his sight. In the end, I was stabbed more than a dozen times. The pervert was successfully arrested, and their white moonlight was safe. The second time was when Song Jingnian was surrounded by fans. A black fan threw sulfuric acid at him. Gu Ruoxi and Gu Zhutang pushed me in front of him without hesitation. I successfully protected Song Jingnian, but a large amount of sulfuric acid burned my face and important organs. I died in agony. All sorts of things like this. Until now, the 99th time Song Jingnian was injured in a car accident with heavy bleeding. Gu Ruoxi and Gu Suetang, in order to save him, drained all the blood from my body. The blood in my whole body drained rapidly. My whole body was so cold it was like falling into an icy abyss. The feeling of pain that almost suffocated me, I never want to endure it again. Gaining their affection was almost impossible. The previous 99 failures were obvious enough. Fortunately, this time the system opened a hidden reward. I no longer need to exhaust my mind to make them love me. As long as I die one more time, I can resurrect Shaiyun Shuang. Thinking of this, I barely supported my body and sat up shakily, eager to find an opportunity to die for them. At this moment, the ward door was pushed open. Several bodyguards stood at the door. The two young ladies are looking for you. Because I had no strength, I was almost dragged away by the bodyguards. After being sent to Song Jingnian's ward, a plate of walnuts was stuffed into my hand. Jingnian wants to eat walnuts. You peel them for him. Seeing the person coming, Gu Ruoxi's expression was cold, her brows slightly furrowed. A trace of disgust flashed in her eyes. Even though I had just come back to life after being drained of blood, it could not move her. When she turned her eyes to look at Song Jingnian, her gaze was unspeakably gentle and considerate, helping him wipe his face. Gu Suetang didn't even look at me from beginning to end, softly coaxing Song Jingnian to take medicine. My eyes lowered slightly. I obediently picked up the walnuts because there were no tools. I could only use my hands to forcefully crush the shell, carefully peeling off the brown skin to reveal the complete milky white flesh inside. Crushing one walnut after another, my index finger was already dripping with blood. Many fine fragments were deeply embedded in the cracked flesh. It hurt terribly. My hands trembled. My face was as pale as paper. It took a long time to barely finish peeling a plate. It is finished. I handed the plate over, my voice weak and thin. For you to see, most of the fruit in the plate was stained red with blood. Ah! Gu Suetang frowned, and with a snap knocked the plate of walnuts over. Sternly scolding Xiao Yichen, how do you do things, peeling it like this? How can Jingnian eat it? Are you trying to harm him? The newly peeled walnuts, meat and shells were scattered all over the floor. Seeing this scene, Gu Suetang frowned deeply, looking annoyed. What are you standing there for? Hurry up and pick up the ones that fell on the floor. If Jingnian steps on them and falls when he gets out of bed later, don't think you'll have it easy. I was already used to their attitude, bent down, enduring the piercing pain in my fingertips, and picked up all the blood-stained walnuts one by one. Song Jingnian tugged at Gu Ruoxi and Gu Suetang's clothes, slightly curling his lips. Ruoxi, Suetang. Yichen just finished donating blood for me. His body is still weak. Will you be too much? Gu Suetang comfortingly held Song Jingnian's hand, saying caringly, how is this too much? Jingnian, you are just too kind, always thinking of him. Gu Ruoxi also agreed. Anyway, he can't die. He will resurrect every time he dies and then run to us again and again. Now it's just letting him peel a walnut. It's no big deal. I hung my head and tightly clenched a piece of walnut shell, feeling the stinging pain in my palm. Gu Ruoxi, Gu Suetang. It's not again and again. This is the last time. As long as I die one last time, I will return to my own world and have no more connection with them. After cleaning up the mess on the floor, seeing me standing there, Gu Suetang looked at me with a bit of disdain. All right, hurry up and get out. Don't be an eyesore here. I nodded extremely obediently. As if I would never refuse any of their requests, I forced my weak body to barely leave the hospital and returned to that cramped and shabby rental house. In this world, I am an orphan. Having a place to stay is progress. As soon as I got home, I could no longer hold on. My body slid down weakly. Even with the help of the system, I can resurrect again and again, but the injuries I suffered and the pain I felt were all real. This body of mine was already full of holes. As soon as I came back, I had a constant high fever, lying in bed unconscious for several days, until the middle of the night. A sharp phone ring broke the silence. It was Gu Ruoxi's call. Jingnian wants to eat crab roe buns from the south of the city, buy them and deliver them within an hour. Night scene 302. Her cold voice carried an aura that could not be disobeyed. I struggled to lift my eyelids, saw it was pouring rain outside. My body could not produce a trace of strength. A thought of retreat arose in my heart. I cleared my painful throat, speaking hoarsely. I feel very unwell. Can we do it another day? What are you pretending? Mara, if you are sick, then you are sick. You won't die anyway. Hurry up and go. After saying that, without waiting for me to refuse, she hung up the phone directly. And immediately after, Jiu Shuetang's call also came. Xiao Yichin, you quickly go buy glutinous rice from the north of the city and deliver it. Jingnian wants to eat. Don't make him wait long. Her cold command came through the receiver. Before I could refuse, she continued, you better be sensible. Go buy it obediently. You've been task-taking us for so many years. The affection level hasn't increased at all. If you are smarter and better to Jingnian, maybe our affection level for you will increase a bit. After saying that, she also hung up the phone. There was no way. If I don't do the mission, I won't have the chance to die for them. I could only grit my teeth and go out. The two shops in the south and north of the city were too far apart. One in the south and one in the north. I dragged my weak body back and forth. I finally bought the crab roe buns and glutinous rice. I was soaked all over. My body temperature continued to rise. Even thinking became extremely difficult, but there was no way. I still had to deliver them to the private room. I barely steadied my steps, swaying to the outside of the room the moment I opened the door and walked in. Due to blurred vision, I didn't notice the rope blocking the way at my calf. My head spun, and with a loud bang, I fell heavily to the ground. My face smashed into the buns and glutinous rice I was holding. Crab roe and rice grains covered my whole face. Water was still dripping from my wet body. I was in a state of extreme embarrassment. I only felt my mind go blank, and only felt the pain later. A burst of laughter resounded throughout the room. Ha ha ha, look at his miserable appearance. He really deserves to be the #1 lick dog in the city. Lying on the ground, he looks even more like a dog. Who says he isn't? I thought he would be tough for once and not come, but how long has it been? And he delivered it so quickly. Damn, he's really sweet. He's always chasing after the eldest and second Miss Gu, and they don't even look at him. In the whole city, who doesn't know that the two Gu sisters only have Jingnian in their hearts? He still wants to reach the sky in one step. He can't even compare to a hair of Jingnian. I listened to these mocking words. My heart was calm, and without waves. It didn't matter. I was only good to them because of the mission. These words couldn't hurt me at all. I calmly supported myself from the ground and stood up, staring fixedly at Jiu Ruoxi and Jiu Suetang sitting in the center. Hearing these sneers, they didn't cast a single look this way at all, focused on taking care of Song Jingnian, coldly saying, since it's smashed like this, the crab roe buns and glutinous rice can't be eaten. Go buy another portion and bring it back. Jiu Ruoxi said lightly, not caring about my embarrassment at all. I pursed my lips and barely forced a smile. All right. After saying that, I turned and went out, rushing into the rain again. After running across most of the city, I finally bought the crab roe buns and glutinous rice again. This time when I walked in, I was extra careful. The room was playing games enthusiastically. Song Jingnian with an expectant look. Ruoxi, Juetong, the game they are playing looks so interesting. I want to join and play with them too. Jiu Suetang gently discouraged Jingnian. If you lose the game, you have to drink. Your body is weak and you can't drink. Seeing his face instantly aggrieved, Jiu Ruoxi immediately said, since you want to play, Xiao Yichen, you come over and block the drinks for Jingnian. I knew I had no right to refuse. After round of games, I don't know if Song Jingnian did it on purpose, he lost again and again. Almost all the wine glasses on the table were emptied by me. My consciousness gradually blurred. The spicy and cold alcohol poured into my stomach. Cold and stimulating, my stomach was churning with discomfort. The cramping pain made it almost impossible to straighten my back. Song Jingnian's eyes were filled with blatant malice, but the words he spoke were gentle to the extreme. Oh, I'm too stupid, why do I keep losing? How about Yichen stops drinking, I'll do it myself. Ji Shuitang pressed his hand down. Ignore him, let him drink. He'll be fine, why feel sorry for him? Ji Ruoxi also acquiesced to her words. Yeah, Jingnian, even if he drinks himself to death, he will resurrect. Don't worry about him. Song Jingnian pretended to be troubled and could only push the wine in front of him to me. Then I'll trouble you, no trouble. I barely said these words, holding the wine glass and drinking it without hesitation. After drinking how many glasses of wine, the world spun before my eyes, and my stomach burned with a fiery pain. My throat felt tight and nauseous. My vision blurred. My limbs went soft and cold. Suddenly a sweet metallic taste surged in my throat. I pressed it down several times but couldn't. In the end I couldn't help it, and a mouthful of fresh blood spurted out, and I completely fell backward. Xiao Yichen. The second before I fainted, I seemed to see Ji Ruoxi and Ji Suiteng, two similar faces, suddenly appearing before my eyes. With the same anxiety on their faces, it should be my illusion. How could they care about me? During the time I lost consciousness, I seemed to have a very long dream. In the dream I returned to my original world, returned to Xiaoyun Shuang's side. She held me, gently, her eyes full of tears. My Chen has worked hard. From now on with me, you will never suffer like this again. I will always protect you. In the dream, the temperature of her embrace was so real. Even the taste of the food she cooked was so delicious. I couldn't help but have moist eyes, only feeling that these years of pain and persistence were all worth it, Yunshuang. The next second, the beautiful dream shattered instantly. Before I had time to hold her hand, I was called by Ji Ruoxi and Ji Suiteng at the same time. Xiao Yichin, who were you calling just now? Both of their faces turned black, and danger was brewing in their cold eyes. I smelled the scent of disinfectant in my nose, and realized I was in the hospital. I had not returned to the world where Xiaoyun Shuang existed. Seeing Ji Ruoxi and Ji Shuiteng guarding my bedside with ugly faces, I was a little surprised. After a moment I shook my head. Did I call anyone's name? Ji Ruoxi's cold eyes narrowed slightly, looking at me searchingly for a long time. In the end, she didn't think much of it. Just coldly said, "All right, get up quickly. It's just stomach bleeding from drinking. Anyway, you won't die, why keep lying here?" Ji Suiteng's attitude was unfriendly, and she even directly pulled me up. "Jingnian still needs you. He just returned to the country. There are several gatherings to attend. You continue to go and block the drinks for him. We are busy these days, you must accompany him well. Don't let anything happen to him, do you remember?" I remembered. I nodded woodenly. Maybe staying by Song Jingnian's side can accelerate my death and complete the task sooner. For the next few days I stayed by Song Jingnian's side. Social dinners and parties were constant. I don't know where he got so many friends to gather with every day. So I was blocking drinks for him almost every day. The smell of alcohol on my body never dissipated. My stomach pain had become numb. In order to wipe the blood I vomited, I used up several packs of tissues in my bag. Until this day, the party was coming to an end. After I went to the bathroom to vomit blood and finally recovered, I returned to the banquet hall only to find Song Jingnian was gone. I was anxious and hurried towards Song Jingnian's lounge, standing outside just about to push the door and enter. A burst of ambiguous panting sounds leaked from the gap in the door that wasn't closed tightly. My heart shook slightly. Looking through the gap, inside the room, a woman with beautiful features and a hot figure was sitting on Song Jingnian. The two were kissing passionately. The woman's skirt was swaying due to their intense movements. On the floor were also scattered white shirts torn into rags and a female model's business card from a club. Inside the room, Song Jingnian panted lowly, moving his waist. The woman bit Song Jingnian's earlobe and asked, "Brother, you've been looking for me so frequently these days. Aren't you afraid of being discovered by the two Miss Ji? They love you so much." "I'm scared to death," Song Jingnian panted and replied, "Don't worry. As long as you do things cleanly, they won't find out." The female model seemed puzzled. The two Miss Ji love brother so much. Why hasn't brother chosen to be with them yet? Song Jingnian smiled indifferently. If I really choose to be with them, I can only choose one and not both. What a loss. Brother will teach you a sentence today. What you can't get is always in a state of unrest, and is what makes people most concerned. That fool Xiao Yishan doesn't understand that if he were smarter and left early, he might still make them remember him. But now, licking them every day and frequently appearing before their eyes will only make them annoyed. My body moves slightly, and I close the door for them. Before I was only forced to protect Song Jingyan, I didn't have much contact with him, and I didn't know what Jiyu Roxy and Jiyu Suetang would think if they knew the lover in their hearts played so wildly in private and treated their efforts like this. But this had nothing to do with me. After organizing my thoughts, I left silently. The next day, Song Jingyan suddenly called Yichen, Hooxi, and Suetang have been busy preparing a birthday banquet for me these days. I heard your birthday is on the same day as mine. Why don't you come and celebrate with me? Let's be happy together. Okay, I'll be there soon. I knew what he was gonna do. It was nothing more than harming me, but it was exactly what I wanted, so I agreed decisively. After taking a taxi to the banquet hall, I stood in the corner watching Song Jingyan's happiness. Jiyu Ruoxi gave Song Jingyan a very expensive watch. Many people saw it and exclaimed one after another, "The eldest Miss Jiyu is really generous. This watch must be worth over 100 million. Jiyu Ruoxi's lips turned up slightly. "Jingyan, do you like the birthday gift I gave you?" Song Jingyan was full of smiles. "Thank you, Ruoxi. I like it very much." As soon as he finished speaking, Jiyu Zuetang competed to place a contract in front of him. "Jingyan, this is the holiday island I just bought for you. From now on, it's only open to you and me." The smile on Song Jingyan's face couldn't be hidden. "Thank you, Suetang. I love islands the most." The venue instantly boiled over. Mr. Song is really happy. The two young ladies of the Jiyu family love him so much, he must have saved the galaxy in his last life. Who says he didn't? If someone were this good to me, my whole life would be worth it. He has too. Song Jingyan enjoyed the praise and envy of everyone, and then smiled and looked around the banquet hall. Finally fixing his eyes on me, he came over and pulled my hand. "Yan Yechen. I almost forgot you. Let's go make a wish together." I was pulled by him to the birthday cake. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang personally inserted the candles on the cake. Countless people sang the birthday song in unison. Song Jingyan had a smile on his face, closed his eyes, and began to make a wish. "This year, my wish is to be best friends with Roxy and Suetang for a lifetime." After speaking, he opened his eyes and blew out the candles. I didn't miss the dimness in Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang's eyes, friends. What they wanted to be was never just friends. After making the wish, Song Jingyan turned his head to me and said, "Ye Ken, now it's your turn to make a wish." Saying that he inserted a simple candle for me, I didn't care about these things. Just put my hands together and piously made a wish in my heart. Just after making it, Song Jingyan pretended to be concerned and said, "Yichen, what wish did you make? Why don't you say it out loud?" I answered calmly, "A wish won't come true if you say it." Once these words were out, the smile on Song Jingyan's face froze. Song Jingyan's friends mockingly laughed at me. "The birthday wish of this lick dog is probably related to the two Miss Jiyu, right? Maybe he wants to be with them." Hearing these taunts, I smiled indifferently. My wish is to hope to return to Xia Yunshuang's side soon, listening to everyone's discussion. Jiyu Ruoxi didn't care at all, Xiao Yichen. "I'm afraid your wish will fall through. I will never like you." Jiyu Shutang also curled her lips. "You want me to like you? Maybe in the next life. I understand that it's enough that I like you." When I looked at them, my eyes were full of love again. They only frowned and avoided my gaze, competing to dance the first dance with Song Jingyan. The banquet came to an end. I came out of the restroom and was about to go downstairs to leave, when Song Jingyan blocked my way. "Xiao Yichen, was that you outside the lounge that day?" Song Jingyan pushed me a bit nervously against the wall, questioning and warning me. "At the same time, I'm telling you, even if you know my secret, don't think about reporting it to Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang. They won't believe you." I just calmly pushed Song Jingyan's hand away. "I only want to die sooner. I don't have any other thoughts. Song Jingyan's affairs have nothing to do with me." I said lightly, "Don't worry, I have no intention of reporting. However, I advise you, Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang are not fools. You better make a decision early and don't keep playing, otherwise you'll burn yourself." Song Jingyan was laughed at by these words. "Xiao Yichen, are you threatening me? What kind of thing are you? If it weren't for being able to block disasters for me, why would Roxy and Juatang keep you around? Do you believe that with just a little trick of mine, you will fall into an endless hell?" I thought to myself, of course I believe it. But I'm not afraid at all. Instead, I'm looking forward to it. So I watched with my own eyes as Song Jingyan directed and performed a fall down the stairs. And then the faces of the two sisters suddenly turned icy cold. The look in their eyes toward me was full of overwhelming anger. "Xiao Yichen, how dare you lay a hand on Jingyan? Are you tired of living? Since you hurt Jingyan, then pay it back tenfold. Someone come, drag him to the highest steps in the city center and push him down 10 times. Two bodyguards immediately stepped out, held me left and right, and dragged me out. On the highest steps in the city center. The crowd had already been evacuated. I looked at the countless steps, but there wasn't much fear in my heart. Instead, there was only a kind of relief of imminent liberation. I was going to die anyway, but I still made a symbolic struggle for a few moments. I really didn't do it. He was directing and performing it himself. But Jiyu Roxy didn't believe it at all, saying angrily, "You still quibble? This is the price for you bullying Jingnian. Quibbling is useless." After the order, the two bodyguards pushed me hard without hesitation. My whole body rolled down uncontrollably, my body repeatedly crashing against the steps, causing countless injuries. The intense pain from my limbs went deep into my bones, and my internal organs began to ache along with it. The images before my eyes kept changing, flashing past me, Song Jingnian's smug eyes, yet I didn't feel a single bit of anger. The more intense the pain, the more I felt liberated. After an unknown amount of time, I finally hit the ground. Just taking a simple breath made my whole body tear with pain. My hands and feet seemed unable to move. Maybe they were broken. However, this was only once. The torture had not ended. The bodyguards picked me up to the top of the stairs and threw me down again. After repeating it an unknown number of times, my whole body was covered in blood from the impacts, pain to the point of numbness. Almost unable to feel anything, only the whistling wind was at my ears. I could hear nothing else. My consciousness also became more and more blurred. I only felt a white light flash before my eyes. Am I dead? Am I going back to my own world? The bodyguard, seeing my eyelids tightly closed and my breathing exceptionally weak, said tremblingly, "Eldest miss, second miss, Mr. Xiao seems to have stopped breathing." Jiyu Ruoxi frowned deeply and kicked my leg impatiently. "Xiao Yichen, stop pretending. We've only thrown you 9 times. Don't think that by pretending to be dead like this, I will let you go." Jiyu Suetang sneered. "That's enough, Xiao Yichen. You are not acting like it at all. Are you waiting for us to feel sorry for you? If you don't wake up again, we'll throw you down from above again. 10 times, 1 second, 2 seconds. A full 3 minutes passed. I still lay silently in the pool of blood. Without any response, I was still conscious, but I had no way to respond to them. Dying here, I should be able to go back, right? Suddenly, they panicked instantly, lifting me up in a state of alarm. "Xiao Yichen, wake up! Ambulance! Call an ambulance quickly." When I woke up again, I was wrapped up like a zongzi. Lying on the hospital bed, even moving a little, was exceptionally difficult, for several days in a row. Jiyu Roxy and Jiyu Shuetang didn't come to see me, nor was there any news of me needing to protect Song Jingnian. I knew this was their usual method. Once I made them angry, in order to punish me, they wouldn't allow me to see them. They knew my task was to conquer them, so this was the method that could torture me the most. I had to die because of the two of them. I could only go look for them during the days of recovery. I asked all of Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suitang's friends, but didn't get a single piece of news after being discharged. I went to all the places they frequent, the company, the Jiyu family, the racing club, etc. None of them had their figure. Suddenly, a piece of entertainment news was pushed to my phone. The Jiyu group today, the eldest and second Miss Jiyu, just because the Song family's young master said he wanted to see snow. Spent a huge price to build a ski resort in 10 days, and the scale of the venue far exceeded all existing outdoor ski resorts. I was stunned, repeatedly watching this entertainment news. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Shutang really like Song Jingnian. But this has nothing to do with me. I just need to find them. After searching for the specific location of the new ski resort, I rushed there without stopping. Just as I arrived at the outskirts of the ski resort, I saw countless people evacuating in a hurry, their faces full of panic. My heart sank as if something bad was about to happen after walking in hurriedly. I saw countless staff evacuating the crowd. Search and rescue personnel also surrounded the ski resort, prohibiting irrelevant personnel from entering. Many people walking out were still whispering that this ski resort was just completed and there were no problems during testing. Who knew there would be a sudden avalanche? It's really terrifying. I heard the two sisters of the GU family who built the ski resort are both buried in the snow and haven't been rescued yet. I heard they also failed to come out because they were saving the boy they like. Truly too devoted. Hearing this, I could almost not stand, unable to calm down at all. They are my mission targets, and nothing can happen to them. If something happens, whether I can return to the original world is an unknown. I tried to steady my panicked heart, walking inward against the crowd, but saw Sung Jinyan wearing warm and thick clothes, not listening to persuasion, and walking out in shock. Don't stop me. I don't want to stay here and wait, nor do I want to find them. This place isn't safe at all. What if something happens to me here too? I want to go home. Seeing this, the friends of GU Ruoxi and GU Suetang were furious but didn't come again. I had no heart to pay attention to them. Hurriedly changing clothes and protective gear, carrying some essential rescue items, I pushed past the safety tape and was about to rush in. A search and rescue member stopped me and shouted, "Sir, what are you doing?" There is heavy wind and snow inside. The ski resort is too large and very dangerous. The temperature is extremely low and can freeze a person to death. Even we don't dare to go in rashly. Even if there is someone important to you inside, you better wait a little longer. Otherwise, you will likely have a life-threatening danger. Hearing this, my heart fell to the bottom. There was a ringing in my ears, and I couldn't hear anything. Only one thought remained in my mind. That is, I must save them, even if I lose my life. Anyway, I'm going to die, it doesn't matter, but they can't have anything happen. I pushed aside the search and rescue personnel recklessly. I must go in. Even if I die inside, I must save them. I used the fastest speed of my life to rush in. The search and rescue personnel couldn't stop me and could only look at my back and sigh, praying in their hearts for my good luck. The ski resort was very large, almost unable to see the border. The thick snow almost reached my knees. Every step was exceptionally difficult. But I couldn't care about these. My gaze repeatedly searched for the location of GU Ruoxi and GU Suetang. The wind mixed with snow slapped my face. Even though my hands and face had protective gear, they were still frozen red and swollen, losing body heat. I didn't know how long I searched. I only felt my body was about to freeze stiff before finally finding a corner of clothing with the GU family logo. I hurriedly used both hands and feet to dig away the snow covering GU Ruoxi and GU Suetang. The snow was too thick and I was almost covered by snow myself before I barely rescued them. GU Ruoxi, GU Suetang. I called several times without getting a response, but I couldn't care about that much. Quickly taking off the rescue tool on my back and assembling it into a stretcher bed, barely placing the two of them on it, several ropes tied them firmly to the stretcher bed. The other end was all tied to my body. My whole body was bruised by the ropes. With the obstruction of the wind and snow, every step was exceptionally difficult, but I had no other choice. Even I myself didn't know exactly how I took step by step to bring them back from the snow. Returning to the warm room, my body could not regain warmth for a long time. The doctor repeatedly checked GU Ruoxi and GU Suetang before coming out with joy. Fortunately, the rescue was timely. The two ladies have no major issues. Hearing this, my hanging heart finally settled down. But I still didn't want to rest, just lying by GU Suetang's bedside, guarding her and GU Ruoxi for fear of any other accidents. GU Ruoxi and GU Suetang gradually woke up and saw me by the bed, their brows instinctively furrowed. "Who allowed you to sleep by my bed?" "So dirty." GU Suetang pushed my hand away with disgust, not noticing at all that my hands were swollen like radishes and my face, which was frozen red, had not recovered. I slowly lowered my head and saw the dirty marks left by the ropes on my body and the crumpled clothes soaked with blood and then dried. Speaking with a hoarse voice, I apologized. "I'll go change immediately." I dragged my pain-filled body and limped away. After changing into clean clothes, I returned to the outside of GU Ruoxi and GU Suetang's ward. Just as I was about to push the door and enter, I heard the conversation inside. "Ruoxi, Suen Kang. You should be nicer to Xiao Yichin from now on, although we didn't like him before and thought he was too much of a lick dog. This time you were trapped in the snowfield, the one you risked your lives for, Sung Jinyan, disregarded your lives and insisted on leaving. It was him who ignored the risks and desperately rushed in to save you. Look at this scene of him using a stretcher to drag you out at that time, covered in blood! Who wouldn't be moved?" GU Ruoxi and GU Suetang took the phone and clicked on the video. They watched the minute-and-a-half video 3 full times. For a moment, a touch of disbelief flashed in their eyes. and their expressions were moved, not knowing what to say. You see, it's not just me saying it, you shouldn't like that Song Jingnian anymore. What he did this time really wasn't human. You were trapped because of him. Yet he wasn't even willing to stand there and wait for you to be rescued. He ran faster than anyone. Ji-yu Ruoxi's emotions flickered in her eyes for a long time. After a deep sigh, she slowly spoke. Jingnian is timid. He must have been terrified this time. It's normal that he ran. We don't blame him. Then what about Xiao Yichen? He loves you so much and is so good to you. Will you really never like him? Song Jingnian isn't worth it. The last few words weren't spoken out loud, but everyone present understood his meaning. Ji-yu Ruoxi and Ji-yu Suetang were silent for a long time without saying anything. Why don't you go see Xiao Yichen? He, after all, suffered such heavy injuries for you. Ji-yu Suetang lowered her eyes and only said there's no need. Anyway, he will never leave. Her words weren't finished. But I understood her meaning. The hand holding the doorknob trembled slightly. My head became more and more dizzy. Finally, I could no longer hold on and fainted directly to the ground. When I woke up again, I found myself lying in the hospital, and the nurse nearby was changing my dressing. Seeing me wake up, she hurried to say, "You're finally awake. The two ladies of the Ji-yu family guarded you for a long time and just left. They looked very worried about you and didn't forget to tell us to take good care of you before leaving." Ji-yu Ruoxi and Ji-yu Shuitang guarded me for a long time and were even worried about me. For a moment, I couldn't believe it. During the next few days, Ji-yu Ruoxi and Ji-yu Shuitang changed their past indifference and would take a small amount of time during their gaps of accompanying Song Jingnian to see me, and from that day on, they didn't ask me to do anything for Song Jingnian again. I sensed the change in their attitude, and for a moment felt a deep sense of powerlessness. The task of conquering Ji-yu Ruoxi and Ji-yu Shuitang to make them love me was impossible to complete. But now the change in their attitude also meant that my task of dying for them would also be impossible to complete. I never expected that saving them would produce this kind of change. I couldn't help but feel a little anxious in my heart. I really don't want to stay in this world anymore. I'm going to actively seek death. After figuring this out, I quickly organized all the things Ji-yu Ruoxi and Ji-yu Suetang had given me over these days, and then brought them all to the Song family. I placed these gifts one by one in front of Song Jingnian and spoke boastfully. "Song Jingnian, your decision to run away after the avalanche this time was truly a stupid one. Do you see these things? They were all given to me by Ruoxi and Suetang. After this incident, their hearts have been pried open by me. Maybe I'm already in their hearts now and they will fall in love with me later. You are still foolishly dangling them. Are you really that confident that they will love you and be good to you forever?" Seeing the raging fire of anger ignited in Song Jingnian's eyes, I smiled with satisfaction. "Ye Kane, they won't love you and you won't have a chance to move them. You wait and see. I will let you see just how important I am in their hearts." Song Jingnian's chest rose and fell with anger, and he pushed me out of the door and had the servants throw out all the things I brought. But I smiled indifferently and picked them up unhurriedly and brought them back to my small rental house. I leaned against the bed, waiting boredly. Sure enough, at night with a bang, Ji-yu Ruoxi and Ji-yu Suetang were in a great panic as they kicked open the door of my rental house. Ji-yu Ruoxi grabbed my hand and pulled me out in total chaos. Jingnian was stabbed by kidnappers and his life is in danger and needs a new heart. Follow me to the hospital to donate your heart to him. Ji-yu Suetang stepped on the gas pedal all the way, driving the car like a race car, running countless red lights along the way. "Xiao Yichen anyway. You have countless lives. Jingnian is different from you. He only has this one, so just donate your heart to him." I remained silent, just being too happy to the point that I was afraid it would show, so I kept my head down in silence, but the sisters thought I was sad. Ji-yu Suetang's hand holding the steering wheel couldn't help but tighten fiercely. Ji-yu Ruoxi also looked away, and actually didn't dare to look at me, afraid she wouldn't be able to help but give up the heart transplant, but Jingnian was still on the hospital bed, and couldn't wait much longer. Ji-yu Ruoxi spoke again. "Xiao Yichen anyway. After you donate your heart, you can still resurrect. As long as you agree to donate your heart, I can grant you one request." Ji-yu Suetang also spoke. "I can also grant you one request." I finally looked out the window, and my voice was incredibly light. "No need. Doing anything for you is of my own free will." The car arrived at the hospital. I got out of the car without any intent to resist and walked toward the operating room. Ji-yu Ruoxi and Ji-yu Shuitang's minds were still echoing with my words from just now, and their hearts were shaken. I walked into the operating room voluntarily, and the moment the door closed, they were inexplicably flustered and instinctively called my name, saying in unison, Xiao Yichen. After you give the new heart to Jingnian, this time we will guard you until you wake up. I curled my lips, no need. Because this time I will never wake up again. After lying on the cold operating table, the anesthesia was pushed into my body, and my consciousness gradually blurred. The doctor's scalpel cut open the skin on my chest and took out that fresh and still beating heart, quickly sending it to Song Jingnian's side. The machine next to me screamed piercingly, and my life stopped. This time I truly died. With a ding, the system's mechanical voice resounded. Soul detects host's 100th death. Hidden reward is being distributed. Host is about to be transported back to the real world. After a flash of white light, my soul completely left this world, long after. The doctor pushed out the corpse covered with a white cloth and sighed. Mr. Xiao is dead. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang both nodded very calmly. Push him into the ward. The doctor was extremely surprised. Don't we need to push him to the morgue? It was his first time seeing such a reaction from family members when someone died. The two sisters waved their hands. You don't need to worry about this. Just push him into the ward. What morgue? He isn't dead, he will resurrect again tomorrow. Thinking of this, the hearts that the two of them had been suppressing suddenly felt a bit lighter. Just as they were about to keep their promise to stay by my side and wait for him to wake up, Song Jingnian, who was pushed out immediately after, cried out a few times in pain. It hurts so much. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Zitang rushed over instantly. Don't be afraid, Jingnian. Jingnian, we will accompany you. The two of them abandoned their promise again and just stayed by Song Jingnian's bedside for the entire night. Until Song Jingnian's condition was completely stabilized, did they breathe a sigh of relief, getting up to head to my ward and checking the time. At this point I should have already resurrected. This time I was too well behaved, so even if I didn't need it, they were going to fulfill my 2 requests as compensation. Surely I would be incredibly happy upon learning this. Thinking of this, the corners of their mouths turned up slightly. Arriving at the ward, both of them called my name impatiently and then slowly pushed open the door. Xiao Yichen. It's late, we brought you breakfast. As they spoke, Jiyu Roxy and Jiyu Xuetang walked in and saw me on the hospital bed with a pale and blue face and dark purple spots on my body. Showing no reaction, the two of them felt like a bolt from the blue and were stunned on the spot for a long time without reacting. Xiao Yichen, why aren't you awake yet? What's with the spots on your body? Xiao Yichen, what trick are you playing now? You're really something this time. You actually learned how to use makeup to deceive us. This trick is useless. Jiyu Suetang was self-deceiving and unable to accept it. Barely restraining the overwhelming panic and sadness in her heart, she stepped forward and lifted the quilt covering me. Jiyu Ruoxi's face was also dark, and her voice was even trembling, pretending to be calm, as she said, Xiao Yichen, we promised you. We can fulfill any request you want us to satisfy. What are you doing with this act now? As long as you wake up, not just one request, you can have as many requests as you want. If you don't wake up again, you won't have this opportunity. Didn't you want us to fall in love with you? Before the last few words could be spoken, the quilt was completely lifted. On the thin hospital gown, dark red and somewhat blackish blood spread out like a gorgeous spider lily. Jiyu Suetang's hands were trembling constantly. Such a simple action as unbuttoning my collar actually became exceptionally difficult at this moment. After an unknown amount of time, a few buttons were unfastened, the collar was lifted, and that small fist-sized hole at the chest had not healed. The flesh was simply sewn up, but not a single heartbeat could be heard. I was truly dead. As soon as this thought came out, Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang's pupils shrank suddenly, and their hearts stopped beating for a moment. Impossible. Xiao Yichen, how could you die? Jiyu Ruoxi's voice was hoarse and dry, and her heart felt like a large hole had been torn open with wind blowing in. Her eyes were so red they were somewhat terrifying. The fingers reaching to touch my temperature were somewhat white. Her face had no color. The feeling under her hand was icy cold without any temperature of a living person. She was extremely incredulous. The door panel trembled slightly. Xiao Yichen, didn't you have a mission and couldn't die? As long as you wake up, I can try to fall in love with you. Me too. You resurrected so many times and worked hard so many times. Isn't it good to wake up one more time? I will fall in love with you bit by bit, as long as you can wake up. Jiyu Suetang shook my shoulder with unspeakable despair and sadness in her eyes. Even though they spoke such words, the person on the bed still lay calmly without being able to give them any response. This time I truly left this world. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang waited for a very, very long time, and the only thing that responded to them was silence. After an unknown amount of time outside the ward, the nurse who came to urge them knocked on the door several times. The two Miss Jiyu, Mr. Song is making a fuss about finding you and has been at it for a long time. He just finished the heart transplant surgery. If this continues, his body won't hold up. Inside the ward, Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Zitang lowered their eyes and remained silent for a long time without responding. After a long time, Jiyu Shuetang seemed to think of something and asked excitedly, "The heart? Is it because there is no heart that I can't wake up?" Jiyu Ruoxi thought for a moment and agreed with this idea. "Maybe what you said is right. I died so many times before but never lacked a heart." Saying that, she looked determined and pushed open the ward door to stop a doctor. "I need a heart with type O blood. Get it for me as soon as possible. No matter what method you use or how much money it takes, you must bring Xiao Yichen back for me." Jiyu Suetang also threw several black cards at them. Money is not an issue. As long as you can save him, anything is fine. The doctor and nurse were both stunned and looked at Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Shitang several times, almost thinking they were crazy. "President Jiyu. Second, Miss Jiyu. Are you joking? Mr. Zhao in the ward has already passed away. Even if a dead person has a heart, they won't come back to life." Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang's eyes darkened instantly, and their surroundings were full of pressure. "Who said he's dead? He's different, as long as there's a heart." "He will definitely come back to life," Jiyu Ruoxi said with a dark face, deceiving herself. Jiyu Suetang also gave them a fierce glare. "If I told you to go find a heart, then go. If we hear any more talk about him being dead, don't expect to live either." The doctors and nurses all hung their heads in silence. This is a private hospital under the Jiyu family's name. Naturally, whatever they said was the law. They hurriedly quickened their pace, using all sorts of methods to find a heart source. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang, however, no longer left my ward by even half a step, wishing they could stare at my corpse every second, waiting for a miracle to happen. However, a whole day passed. I still did not wake up. The corpse was rotting, emitting a foul stench. Jiyu Tuitang panicked and exchanged a look with Jiyu Ruoxi. "My body must not have any accidents. If it rots completely, maybe I won't be able to come back to life." Jiyu Ruoxi also looked panicked and directly made a phone call. "Help me arrange an ice coffin and a cold storage as soon as possible, and send me in at the fastest speed." The other side didn't ask much and hurriedly answered with a yes. Before hanging up, not long after, someone came to send my corpse to the cold storage. Watching me be put into the ice coffin, Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang were exceptionally silent. Just quietly watching this scene, a feeling of infinite regret arose in their hearts, yet they still maintained a trace of expectation that shouldn't exist. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang returned to the hospital lost in soul, waiting for news of the heart source while staying by Song Jingnian's side. Song Jingnian looked at their worn-out and haggard faces. His heart was extremely uneasy. "Ruoxi, Suetang, what's wrong? Why are you always unhappy? Is it Yaishin who did something to upset you again?" Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Zuetang were silent for a long time, delayed in answering, until he repeated it once. Then she came back to her senses. Jiyu Ruoxi looked at Song Jingnian and asked absent-mindedly, "What did you just say?" The smile on his face was extremely forced. Just as he was about to repeat it again, the ward door was suddenly pushed open. A doctor walked in and said very excitedly to Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Sutang, "President Jiyu, second Miss Jiyu, a suitable heart source has been found. The organ donor was just declared dead, and the heart is already on its way here." Hearing these words, they could no longer sit still, instinctively standing up to follow the doctor out. At this time, Jiyu Shutang seemed to remember something, turned her head, and hurriedly gave Song Jingnian a few perfunctory words. "Jingnian, we still have things to do. You rest well. We're leaving now." After speaking with a bang, the ward door closed. Song Jingnian was almost half dead with anger, resentfully clutching the quilt in his hand, venting the emotions in his heart, the gentle mask completely shattered. This was the first time he had been treated so coldly by them. He didn't understand. Everything had developed according to his wishes. What on earth went wrong? How did it become like this? According to common logic, Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Zuetang, shouldn't they be staying by his side to take care of him every step of the way? Or even if he just said a word, they should bring me along to let him bully me? Song Jingyan couldn't figure it out. The panic in his heart grew larger and larger, feeling as if something was about to spiral out of control. Impossible. They must be busy with work. It must just be me overthinking. He lightly patted his chest, trying to calm his emotions. He had just finished heart surgery and was still in the recovery process. He couldn't even get out of bed. However, even if he comforted himself like this, his mind still repeatedly thought about the words the doctor said to Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang just now. Heart source? He's already fine. Why are they looking for a heart source now? Song Jingyan couldn't understand this question at all. When the nurse came to change his medicine, he grabbed the nurse's hand. As if realizing his impatience, he hurriedly pulled out a gentle smile. "Miss Nurse, do you know what the two Miss Jiyu have been busy with lately? They haven't come to accompany me for a long time. Did I do something wrong?" Hearing this, the nurse felt a bit sorry in her heart and didn't care much about what just happened, seriously telling Song Jingyan what she knew recently. The two Miss Jiyu have been looking for a heart source lately, wanting to give a heart to a dead man, saying that he could come back to life this way, but the person is already dead. What's the use of a heart? Not to mention his corpse has already started to rot. If he can really come back to life, that would definitely be a medical miracle. After changing the medicine, the nurse left without chatting much more. Song Jingyan couldn't help but laugh. "Xiao Yichen, you still want to compete with me? Isn't your life very tough? Why can't you resurrect this time? It seems you are not that great." Calculating the time, maybe the heart has already been delivered to Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Shuitang's hands. Regardless of whether this chance is real or fake, he must not let them succeed. Dead people should die completely and disappear from this world for the best. Song Jingyan's eyes turned fierce, and he called Jiyu Ruoxi. After the call was connected, he gasped for breath, pretending to be weak as he moaned for help. "Ruoxi, Suetang, my heart hurts so much. Is it body rejection? Am I going to die? Where are you? I really want to see you. Maybe this is the last time I'll see you. Can you come see me, please?" Jiyu Ruoxi, hearing these words, had no intention of going to see him at all. Her eyes were blankly staring at me in the ice coffin. Her whole person was dejected to the extreme. Even when the phone fell to the ground, no one cared. Jiyu Sitang was surrounded by an overwhelming sadness, almost losing her voice. My chest stitches in the ice coffin were cut open. The chest cavity was opened again, revealing that empty space, and the fresh, beating heart was placed into the withered body, looking extremely mismatched. Even if the doctor was knowledgeable when personally handling the corpse to connect a fresh heart, he still couldn't help but feel a bit nauseous. He endured the disgust and finished the surgery, sewing the skin of the corpse's chest back together. 1 second, 2 seconds, 1 minute, 10 minutes. Everyone was quietly waiting for the moment the miracle would happen. However, after an unknown amount of time, the miracle did not descend. He would not wake up again. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Shuitang stared fixedly at my chest, not recovering for a long time. An overwhelming sadness swept through their whole bodies. "Don't joke with us, okay? Aren't you a task taker? Don't you have a mission? The mission isn't finished yet. How can you die so easily?" Jiyu Ruoxi rested her hands on the ice coffin, her fingers frozen white, the despair in her eyes almost overflowing. Jiyu Shu Sitang was no better, forcefully grabbing the doctor's collar, her hands constantly tightening. "Speak! Did you do something tricky so he couldn't resurrect? He loves us so much he was willing to die for us. How could he suddenly give up on the conquest mission?" The doctor struggled desperately and firmly blocked Jiyu Shitong. The hand clutching his neck was trembling. He said with difficulty, "I didn't." "Second, Miss Jiyu, Mr. Xiao died a long time ago. I did nothing. How can a dead person come back to life? Are you having a hallucination?" Doctor spoke tactfully, but in his heart he began to suspect if the two sisters of the Jiyu family had mental problems. Jiyu Suetang threw the doctor aside like a piece of trash, her voice cold as frost. "He will come back to life. Get out." Hearing this, the doctor and the assisting nurse scrambled to leave, afraid to stay for even one more second. With a bang, the cold storage door closed. They were wearing thin clothes but seemed to not feel the external temperature at all, only quietly staring at the handsome man in the ice coffin. My face was pale, and the corpse spots were very obvious. The heart that was still beating when it was just delivered had also completely calmed down. Without any fluctuation, the phone on the ground had already run out of power and shut down automatically. Ji-yu Ruoxi and Ji-yu Suetang had never realized so clearly that I had left them forever. Having one less annoying and eyesore lick dog, shouldn't they be happy? No one would chase after them regardless of dignity anymore, and no one would obstruct them from pursuing Song Jingyan anymore. They should be happy, but why did their chests feel like they were being pricked by countless dense needles? It hurt like it was dripping blood. Ji-yu Ruoxi and Ji-yu Suetang looked at each other and saw similar emotions in each other's eyes. The stinging pain in their hearts tortured their rationality. After a long silence, no one had the intention of burying me. They silently sent people to guard the cold storage and set up full coverage, no blind spot monitoring to watch the ice coffin. They still didn't believe I would leave so easily. However, 1 day, 2 days, 10 days passed. Ji-yu Ruoxi and Ji-yu Suetang didn't know how many times they had watched the surveillance on their phones. The person in the ice coffin was still sleeping, without the slightest sign of waking up. During these 10 days, they were terrifyingly silent. A low-pressure atmosphere swirled around them. People passing by didn't even have the courage to look them in the eye. Even Song Jingyan became much better behaved. Clearly, Ji-yu Ruoxi and Ji-yu Suetang often came to see him and stayed by his bedside. But it was obvious their hearts were not on him. Song Jingyan was anxious. If he didn't do something more, he was afraid he would really lose them. However, his body was still in the recovery process, and he couldn't do anything he should do. Seeing that after they looked at him, simply they were in a hurry to leave. Song Jingyan grit his teeth and hugged Ji-yu Ruoxi tightly from behind, also grabbing Ji-yu Suetang's hand. Ruoxi, Suetang, what has happened to you lately? You don't accompany me anymore. I'm really scared sleeping alone in the ward at night. Today, it's raining heavily outside, and there's thunder. Can you stay and accompany me? He spoke pitifully. Ji-yu Ruoxi's expression softened a bit. Just as she was about to nod, she inexplicably remembered the past when I was sick, yet still brought them things in the rain. I was always that stubborn and deep-loving person. But I have still left them now. Clearly the one in front of her was Song Jingyan. But Ji-yu Ruoxi's heart was full of thoughts about me. After a long silence, she nodded slowly. Ji-yu Suetang also didn't refuse. Just staring at her and Song Jingyan's intertwined hands, she was terrifyingly silent. In the past, my kindness to them didn't count for any reward, just simply hoping they were well. There was never any disgusting desire in my eyes, let alone approaching like this without any sense of boundaries. I just simply wanted to be good to them, simply loving them. But today, the feeling Song Jingyan gave her was completely different from usual, a kind of restlessness that couldn't be described. Seeing her frown, Song Jingyan hooked his lips imperceptibly, thinking she was jealous. He released his hand holding Ji-yu Ruoxi and hugged Ji-yu Suetang tightly. Suetang, let's be as good as before, okay? Lying on one bed and chatting all night about our secrets, you haven't chatted with me for a long time. Are we still friends? Ji-yu Suetang had a cold, expressionless face. You go to bed and rest. We are here. You sleep peacefully. As she spoke, she, however, had no intention of lying on the bed to accompany him. Song Jingyan was secretly angry in his heart but could do nothing about it. The next morning, the two of them felt like they were liberated and left the ward as if escaping. Song Jingyan was so angry he smashed everything on the bedside table to pieces. At this time, the female devil Shu Xingman knocked on his door and pushed the door to enter. Jingyan, is your illness better? Seeing her appear, Song Jingyan's face darkened instantly, and he gave her a threatening glare. Shu Xingman, didn't I say that if I didn't call you, you shouldn't appear in front of me? Who allowed you to come here? A blue look appeared on Shu Xingman's beautiful face. You haven't come to find me for a long time. You know my family is full of gambling lovers and my mother is seriously ill and needs money. How about I replace the caregiver to take care of you? They won't find out. As she spoke, her slender fingers began to make circles and massage his chest. Song Jingyan's expression softened slightly. As if he thought of something, he then nodded, stay for now. But in front of Ji-yu Ruoxi and Ji-yu Suetang, you should know in your heart what to say and what not to say. Money will be transferred to your account later. It won't be less for you. Shu Xingman nodded with satisfaction, her massaging hand constantly moving down. A red flush appeared on Song Jingyan's face as he leaned in her arms, enjoying her thorough service. However, for several days in a row, Ji-yu Ruoxi and Ji-yu Suetang didn't come to see him. Song Jingyan's face became more and more ugly. feeling that what was originally in his pocket was getting out of control. The number of times the calls to them were connected became fewer and fewer. Song Jingyan was so angry he called Jiyu Ruoxi's assistant again to ask, "Assistant Zhang, have you told Ruoxi and Suitong my words?" Assistant Zhang was busy and dizzy, with a deep helpless sigh. "Mr. Song, I've told them the words you ordered, saying that you seem to be walking a bit close to a girl. They didn't have any reaction, let alone being jealous. I can't help it either." After hanging up the phone with a bang, the phone in Song Jingyan's hand hit the wall, the screen smashing to pieces. Xu Xingman hurriedly hugged him and comforted him softly. "Jingdian, don't worry, they liked you so much before, because we are close. Their coldness is only temporary, it should just be jealousy." Song Jingyan, however, could not believe this explanation at all. In the past, if they were jealous, they would have beaten Xu Xingman half to death. But now the news had been spread for several days, and there was still no reaction. He really couldn't sit still. Since I died, giving him a new heart, everything started to gradually go out of control. If he waited any longer, something was really going to happen. Song Jingyan's heart turned fierce, and he secretly determined something, leaving the hospital early. At the Jiyu family, a thick, choking sandalwood incense swirled around everyone's nose, making people's heads spin. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suitong, however, seemed unable to feel it. Staring fixedly at the person in the ice coffin, one after another monks walked in, almost filling the entire courtyard. "As long as any of you can save him, whatever conditions you have, we can agree to them," Jiyu Suitong shouted loudly, making sure every capable person heard it. They looked at each other and all shook their heads in their hearts. They had a bit of skill, but not to the extent of snatching people from the King of Hell. At most, looking at feng shui or calculating luck, making a dead person come back to life was simply an impossible thing. Although each one knew in their heart this was impossible, they still stepped forward one after another to try. After all, the reward was so high. What if they got lucky? If the man in the ice coffin really came back to life? That would be heavenly wealth. Even if he didn't come back to life, there was no loss. One after another, the capable people went up to perform rituals, chanting sutras and preaching, doing shamanic dances. All sorts of methods were used. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suitong's faces were terrifyingly cold. Jiyu Ruoxi suppressed the anger in her heart and endured watching these scenes after an unknown amount of time. All the capable people's tricks and methods that could be used were used. Once, throughout the courtyard, yellow charms, incense burners, and ritual instruments were scattered all over the ground. I, in the ice coffin, still did not wake up. Jiyu Ruoxi could no longer hold back and roared for the group of people to quickly disperse. Only she and Jiyu Suitong were left in the whole courtyard. They leaned on the ice coffin, carefully tracing my face with their eyes. "Xiao Yichin, your conquest mission isn't finished yet. You aren't intentionally not wanting to come back to life just to see us regret, are you?" Jiyu Suitong suppressed the aching pain in her heart and spoke against her heart. "You have a system. You definitely won't die. Are you watching our joke now? I'm telling you, if you don't wake up again, we will never come to see you again, let alone care about your life or death. It's just as well that you're not here. It's easier for us to pursue Jingdian. It's best if you never wake up." The reverse psychology was used, but didn't work. Jiyu Suitong lowered her eyes, her whole person in a state of immense pain and torture. Jiyu Ruoxi carefully reached out to touch my face. Her usually cold voice also took on a touch of tenderness. "Xiao Yichin, if all of this is your tactic, then I admit your tactic succeeded. We regret letting you give Song Jingdian a heart. Your efforts over these years have indeed taken effect. We are used to your existence, used to you always loving us, used to you never leaving us. We really regret making such a decision. Is it that hard to wake up and look at us?" Her usually tall figure appeared very fragile at this moment. The two sisters grieved silently, terrifyingly silent. Even though they had been trying to restrain themselves over the years, a place in their hearts had still been occupied by me. No one would be indifferent to such intense love, but no matter what they said, I could no longer give them a response. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suitong sent me back to the cold storage again. Jiyu Ruoxi pinched the bridge of her nose, processing work with a numb face. The flowers in the vase on the table had long since withered, and no one replaced them in time. A burst of burning pain rose in her stomach. Jiyu Ruoxi endured until her face turned pale. Truly unable to persist, she instinctively reached for the medicine in the cabinet. There was nothing in the empty cabinet. After I left, no one ever added new medicine to the cabinet again. Xiao Yichen, where is my medicine? She instinctively shouted at the empty space but received no response. Jiyu Ruoxi's hand trembled as she dialed the assistant's phone. Bring me some stomach medicine. After taking the medicine, Jiyu Ruoxi leaned weakly against the chair, her eyes slightly closed. Her heart filled with an indescribable irritability and discomfort. At the same time, Jiyu Shuitang on the other side was no better. After leaving, no one cared whether her racing was safe, and no one would say they hoped she returned safely every time she got in the car to depart. Jiyu Shuitang stepped on the gas pedal, as if venting, completely ignoring the persuasion in the headset. Her speed soared to the extreme, racing on the winding road like a nine-curved dragon, dangerously brushing past death countless times. All the people watching were terrified. Jiyu Shuitang, however, could not feel it at all. Only the pleasure brought by the adrenaline rush could prove she was still alive. After breaking the historical record and reaching the finish line, countless people congratulated and lamented. Jiyu Shuitang, however, instinctively shouted a name, Xiao Yichen. Following that, she took off her helmet and threw it toward a familiar spot. The helmet rolled on the ground several times, making a crisp clinking sound, like a mockery of her. Jiyu Shuitang was a bit dazed. She forgot that I was already dead and would no longer come to cheer and support her. Returning to the cold home without a trace of life, she only felt lonely. My chat box on her phone still stayed at a long time ago. I hadn't come to harass her for a very long time. He, however, was not used to it at all. On the contrary, Song Jingnian had invited him and Jiyu Ruoxi countless times, yet they could not muster the mood to go even once. Shuitang, tomorrow is your and Ruoxi's birthday. I have prepared a surprise gift for you both. It has been a long time. I really miss you. Did we not say we would be friends for a lifetime? Why have you suddenly become so distant from me? Is it because I did something wrong? No, Jiyu Shuitang replied simply in her heart, yet she could not help but think of my past. Every year for the sisters' birthdays, I would always start preparing long in advance, wishing I could give them the best of everything I could offer. Even if at every birthday banquet they would tease and torture me in various ways, I always endured it silently, and finally sent them birthday gifts and handmade birthday cakes with a smile, wishing them a happy birthday. This time, however, there was nothing. In the middle of the night, Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Shuitang went to the cold storage in a tacit understanding. I was sleeping soundly in the ice coffin, never to wake up again and smile to wish them a happy birthday. They sat in the cold storage in silence for a very, very long time, until a servant knocked on the door outside the cold storage. Only then did they walk out with a body full of chill. Even though it was Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Shuitang's birthday banquet, there was not a trace of a smile on their faces. They sat in the corner, drinking glass after glass of wine, and many people were deterred by the coldness emanating from around them, not daring to approach at all. Song Jingnian brought 2 gift boxes and delivered them to them. Ruoxi, Shuitang, this is what I personally prepared for you. I do not know if you like it. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Shuitang did not even lift their heads, giving a casual hum, and took the gift boxes, putting them aside at will. The smile on Song Jingnian's face froze for a moment, then quickly recovered. Ruoxi, Shuitang, actually I have something I want to say to you. I have someone I like in my heart. It is one of you, but I am hesitant whether I should say it out loud. Seeing how much you value me now, maybe I should bury this answer in my heart forever? Today is your birthday, I toast to you. As he spoke, he drained the wine in his glass. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Shuitang did not think much and also drank the wine in the glasses before them. The banquet gradually reached its end. Song Jingnian's face had an unnatural flush, and Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Shuitang could also clearly feel the temperature on their bodies rising unnaturally. No matter how stupid they were, they realized what had happened. Just as they were about to support Song Jingnian back to the room and wait for the doctor to come and handle it, he kept throwing himself onto them. It is so hot, Ruoxi, Shuitang, help me, okay? His hands pulled open and messed up their collars. Jiyu Ruoxi's face turned extremely dark. Even though he was the person she liked, her heart was filled only with resistance, and she even took a few steps back. Jiyu Shuitang was no better, constantly calling the private doctor, asking how much longer it would take to get there. Did they not want their lives anymore? The private doctor hurriedly rushed over here, still panting as he answered. President Jiyu, Second Miss Ji-yu, I am arriving soon, please hold on for a bit longer. Ji-yu Ruoxi forcibly tore away Song Jingnian's clinging hands. Ruoxi, I feel so miserable, actually, he was muttering incoherently while not sober, not saying that name. But Ji-yu Ruoxi and Ji-yu Suetang's faces were ugly to the extreme. If the doctor did not arrive soon, they would not be able to hold on either. Ji-yu Suetang, with a dark face, directly threw Song Jingnian into the bathtub, turning on the cold water to wash over his body. Then she hurriedly left the room and entered the room next door. The three of them each had a room waiting for the private doctor to arrive. After the doctor arrived, he hurriedly checked Ji-yu Ruoxi and Ji-yu Suetang and injected them with medicine to relieve the situation. After the situation was relieved, they hurriedly used the spare key to open Song Jingnian's room door. What first met their eyes were clothes scattered all over the floor, and the ambiguous sounds in the bedroom were incessant. Xu Xingman asked Song Jingnian somewhat nervously, Jingnian, they are right next door, they will not find us, right? No, those two wastes, I created an opportunity for them. But they are not useful at all, Song Jingnian panted, saying with full anger, when you came over just now, did you see my bodyguards succeed? When you leave, put them on my bed. This matter today must be accomplished one way or another. My methods were too light before, remember. After walking out, today I slept with both sisters. I want the whole circle to know. Xu Xingmen nodded fearfully, her delicate and sticky voice echoing in Ji-yu Ruoxi and Ji-yu Suetang's ears with a buzz. They only felt as if something had completely shattered. The beautiful image Song Jingnian once held in their hearts had completely disappeared. Hearing the level of familiarity, it was definitely not the first time. Just how many women had he had behind their backs? Ji-yu Ruoxi and Ji-yu Suetang took several deep breaths and looked at each other, both seeing the shock and disgust in each other's eyes with a bang. Ji-yu Suetang kicked open the bedroom door with all her might. Seeing this extremely hidden scene, she felt so disgusted she almost vomited. Song Jingnian's image of being as gentle as jade instantly fell into the mire. Song Jingnian, who gave you the guts to actually dare to play us like this? Ji-yu Ruoxi roared sternly. Giving a look behind her, and a row of bodyguards walked in. Without looking sideways, they picked up the naked Song Jingnian and threw him on the ground. Ji-yu Suetang was almost driven out of her mind by the scene before her, kicking Song Jingnian in the abdomen. His body was like a kite with a broken string. After hitting the wall, he powerlessly coughed up a mouthful of fresh blood, slowly sliding to the ground. Ruoxi, Suetang, I can explain. I was drugged and felt so miserable, they suddenly broke in. Song Jingnian's face was pale and pitiful. He barely picked up a piece of clothing to cover his naked body. Struggling to crawl towards Ji-yu Ruoxi and Ji-yu Suetang, I am sorry, I did not do anything. Please don't treat me like this, okay? Ji-yu Ruoxi gave a contemptuous cold laugh. Do you really take us for fools to be ordered around by you? Never mind the past, but those words just now were spoken by your own mouth. No one forced you. We really misjudged you in the past, Song Jingnian. You really make me feel disgusted. Ji-yu Suetang also looked at the man on the ground with full loathing. The words she spoke were like a nightmare. Today the drugs we took were probably all given by you, right? Having so many women was not enough. You actually wanted to harm us. Since you lack women so much, then go to a club to receive guests in the future. You can get whatever women you want. Hearing this, the blood drained from Song Jingnian's face. He shook his head desperately. No, I am the eldest young master of the Song family. You can't treat me like this. Ji-yu Ruoxi gave a cold sneer. We propped you up, then you are the eldest young master, did you forget? The Song family has never lacked sons, and there are plenty of illegitimate ones. Song Jingnian was really panicked now. Don't you like me very much? I will agree to be with you, okay? They have nothing to do with me. I beg you don't send me to a club, okay? Impossible! Ji-yu Suetang refused without hesitation, also giving the bodyguards a look. Seeing the bodyguards gradually approaching, several women nearby shrunk into the corner like shivering quails, not daring to breathe a single breath. Song Jingnian's begging actions stopped instantly, his brain working rapidly. At the moment the bodyguards were dragging him away. He clutched his chest and shouted at them, Ji-yu Ruoxi, Ji-yu Suetang, you cannot move me. Xiao Yuchen's heart is still in my body. If you move me, his heart will be gone. He confidently thought that as long as he said this sentence, they would let him go, so he proudly continued. Ruoxi Xuetang, did you change your minds and fall in love with him? But it does not matter. In the future, I will stay by your side instead of him. As long as you are willing, you can treat me as him. You. Soon as these words were spoken, the whole room was silent for a long time. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang's eyes drooped slightly. The emotions in their eyes dark and unclear. Did they like me? During this time, was the misery and regret in their hearts all out of liking? A trace of error and shock flashed in their eyes. The love that had been suppressed in their hearts, unwilling to indulge and even more unwilling to speak out, at this moment completely rushed out of the cage, surging like a tide. After learning I was there to conquer them and would resurrect again and again after dying, they loathed it. All the kindness I expressed to them was fake. All of it was just wanting to get something from them. Therefore, they used me to protect Song Jingyan without any burden. Even if I would be in pain and die again and again, they did not care. After all, Song Jingyan had only one life. While I could resurrect countless times, but later, I persisted in being good to them day after day for 10 years, never giving up. How could they not be moved at all? It was just that they told themselves again and again to be wary, that my love for them was all fake, done for the conquest mission. But the love in my eyes, when I looked at them, was not an illusion. Gradually, they stopped doubting my love. But the conquest mission was always a thorn stuck between them, not to mention the world of difference between their identities and mine. They could not calmly accept the true thoughts in their hearts, even more unable to betray the white moonlight they had always liked, so they just wanted to wait a bit longer. Anyway, I would not leave. They just did not expect that I would still leave forever. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang were silent for a long time, finally firming up the thoughts in their hearts. Jiyu Suetang kicked Song Jingyan again and stepped on his face, saying contemptuously, "A substitute? What kind of thing are you? How can someone so dirty be worthy of Yichen's heart?" Jiyu Ruoge's eyes were tainted with a touch of sinister coldness, bending down forcefully. "Yes, we forgot there is still a heart in your body that does not belong to you. Since it is something that does not belong to you, then take it away." Hearing this, the blood drained from Song Jingyan's face, his lips trembling, his pupils shrinking. "No, you cannot treat me like this." He desperately clutched his chest and shrunk away, wishing to hide in the corner. "I do not want to die. I really do not want to die. This is murder." Jiyu Suetang was almost laughed to anger. "Murder? We have the final say in the whole capital city. Even if we kill you, so what? Rest assured, I will not let you die. Death is too easy for you." Jiyu Ruoxi said lightly, but the thick hatred in her eyes was terrifying. "We have already arranged an artificial heart transplant for you. You will live to receive all the torture." "Don't do this, please let me go," Song Jingyan cried uncontrollably, his voice hoarse from shouting please, but he did not get a single look of pity from them. He was dragged to the hospital by the bodyguards. The moment before being sent into the operating room, Song Jingyan struggled madly, roaring at Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang. "It was you who forced Xiao Yichen to death. He probably stopped loving you a long time ago. If it were not for the mission, he would not be tortured by you like this. Was not every one of his deaths forced by you? If he has a next life, he definitely will not choose you. The people who truly deserve to die are you." He laughed madly, a drop of bloody tear flowing from the corner of his eye. The words spoken, however, echoed repeatedly in Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang's minds. They smiled bitterly in self-blame and regret. "Yes, Song Jingyan is right. The ones who truly deserve to die are us. We personally lost Yechen and killed him." Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang spoke in unison, their bodies written all over with dejection. "An unknown amount of time passed. That heart belonging to me was taken out and returned to my body. The moment the heart returned to the body, a flash of white light occurred. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang looked forward with joy. "Yichen, is it you who has returned? We love you. In the future we will never be separated again." Before the words were finished, the scene before them shocked them so much that their eyes widened involuntarily. The white light gradually dissipated, and my body gradually became transparent before their eyes, dissipating in the ice coffin. "Xiao Yichen!" Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang shouted at the same time, constantly reaching out to touch and keep me, but they could not keep anything. How can this be? System, should you not return him to me? Why can't we even keep his corpse? Ji-Yu Roxy was desperate to the extreme, almost squeezing this sentence from the depths of her throat. Ji-Yu Suetang repeatedly searched in the ice coffin, murmuring somewhat crazily, Xiao Yichen, don't hide from me, okay? We really cannot bear the pain of losing you again. Have you already come back to life? Are you just angry with us and don't want to see us? So you disappeared before our eyes? This time let us go find you, okay? Ji-Yu Ruoxi's voice was dry to the extreme, saying with difficulty, Yachen, I have punished all those who bullied you, especially Song Jingyan. You can hate us. Just don't not see us, okay? We did wrong. We are sorry for you. We really know we were wrong. Come back and punish us, okay? We really want to see you. They rambled in the cold storage for a long time. The only response they got was dead silence. After coming out of the cold storage, Ji-Yu Ruoxi and Ji-Yu Shuteng called in all the available manpower. You search for this boy in the photo for us worldwide. His name is Xiao Yichen. Use whatever method, you must bring him back to me. Ji-Yu Ruoxi said coldly. Everyone who saw the photo had consistent surprise in their eyes. After looking at each other, someone plucked up the courage to ask, President Ji-Yu, second Miss Ji-Yu? There is no one in this photo? Who exactly are you looking for? Are you joking? What? Ji-Yu Sutang's pupils shrank, and she hurriedly took the photo from Ji-Yu Roxi's hand. The man in the photo had a sunny smile, handsome features, and his eyes seemed to hide infinite affection. Is this not Yichen? What nonsense are you talking about? Just before Ji-Yu Suetang was about to get angry, everyone hurriedly competed to speak. Second Miss Ji-Yu, we really cannot see anyone in the photo. Is this not just a landscape photo? Yes, there really is no one. Ji-Yu Suetang had a face full of error, not coming back to her senses for a long time. Only Ji-Yu Ruoxi controlled the situation in time, saying coldly, You few go down first. Call all the employees in the company to come in one by one. We want to question them. The employees of the whole company came in one after another. After being told that the content of the conversation was to be kept secret, they all nodded to show they understood. Then Ji-Yu Ruoxi and Ji-Yu Shuiteng found several single photos of me and asked the same question. Is there anyone in the photo? What do they look like? The answers of thousands of people were almost the same. No one. These photos are all just landscape photos. Some people tried to be clever, but either they said the wrong gender or they could not describe the appearance at all. They were just talking nonsense. Ji-Yu Ruoxi and Ji-Yu Suitang felt the same panic and loss in their hearts. Why exactly was it like this? They did not understand. So they called their friends one by one to ask, Do you still remember Xiao Yichen? Do you still remember what he looks like? Every friend's answer was more or less the same. Eldest Miss Ji-Yu and second Miss Ji-Yu, is this after Song Jingyan falling in love with the same man again? Who is Xiao Yichen? Is he someone we've seen? If you want to find him, we will definitely help you find him. Ji-Yu Ruoxi and Ji-Yu Suetang did not refuse, but their hearts sank to the bottom. They went to the club and found Song Jingyan. Song Jingyan threw himself onto them, aggrievedly saying, Ruoxi, Suetang, have you come to save me? I really know I was wrong. I should not have found other women behind your backs. Let me go, okay? Ji-Yu Ruoxi and Ji-Yu Suetang knit their brows fiercely, exchanging a look, and a last trace of hope in their hearts completely shattered. Do you still remember Xiao Yichen? Ji-Yu Ruoxi went straight to the point. A trace of confusion and bewilderment flashed in Song Jingyan's eyes, and he asked back, Who is he? Seeing him like this, there was no need to ask about some details. Ji-Yu Ruoxi and Ji-Yu Shuitang did not give him an answer, turning around and leaving directly. In the entire world, all traces I left had disappeared, or rather, been cleared. I was as if I had never come to their world. For a moment they both had some doubts whether there was an error in their memory, and they only imagined the existence of such a person. But the frostbite left on their bodies during the avalanche was still there, including all the scars related to me from before. All were still there. Only I had completely left them. Ji-Yu Ruoxi and Ji-Yu Suetang felt heart pain to the point of almost suffocating. They searched the whole world, but there was never a sign of me. I was originally brought to this world by the system to conquer them. From beginning to end, I did not belong to this world. It was just that they were moved too late. If they had admitted their hearts a bit earlier and hurt me a bit less, Would I have stayed in this world forever to accompany them? Jiyu Roaxi and Jiyu Suetang were desperate to the extreme. They were like self-torturers, experiencing every one of the injuries I had experienced before, one by one. A knife stabbed deep into the heart, fresh blood gushing out, sulfuric acid splashed on the body, burning away the skin, blood drawn until fainting. Falling down the stairs, they had only one life. Therefore, they could only control the injuries, but precisely because of this, they could never empathize with him. Even just like this, they could almost not bear the injuries all over their bodies. Their hearts also followed with heart-wrenching pain. So it turned out you were in so much pain then? Just how did you endure it? Yi Chen, we are sorry for you. We really know we were wrong this time. After one sincere apology after another, Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang were already covered in tears. The heart-wrenching pain was like a maggot on a bone that could not be peeled away. It turned out that all along, the people who truly could not leave the other party were themselves. Jiyu Ruoxi frequently spaced out in her studio, making decision errors, several times causing huge losses to the Jiyu group. She knew she was no longer suitable for this position and decisively announced her resignation. Jiyu Shuetang sat in her race car, but even simply holding the steering wheel gave her a kind of indescribable panic. After barely starting, she had an accident and fell down a cliff when passing through a simple curve. Her body was not a big deal, but she knew she could never drive a race car again. Today was the fall of the AZ Racing Club's Pin Yun. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Shuetang were in a daze, their whole people haggard to the extreme. It was another year of my birthday. They could no longer hold on, and chose on this day. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang lay in the two newly prepared ice coffins, holding knives and stabbing them into their hearts, stirring repeatedly, losing consciousness. Xiao Yichen, we've come to find you, I love you. The two said in unison, almost simultaneously closing their eyes, cold tears carrying memories, sliding down soundlessly. Two ice coffins, one on the left and one on the right, placed beside that empty ice coffin in the middle. At the moment before death, a mechanical voice echoed in their minds in unison. Warning, world number 001 has collapsed. Lucky daughters Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang are on the brink of death. World protection measures have been activated. After a burst of piercing mechanical sound, a genderless voice coldly asked Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang, "Your suicide has seriously disrupted the world order. Speak, what are your requests?" Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang took a look at the white space deep inside, somewhat in error, but quickly reacted. This was in that so-called system space. They quickly recovered their senses, saying firmly, "We want Xiao Yichen to return to our side. We only want him." The voice paused for a moment, then said calmly and without waves, "Task taker Xiao Yichen, conquest mission has been completed, rewards are being issued, detected that it overlaps with the hidden reward, resurrecting Xia Yunshuang, has been converted to real-world currency, the amount of 10 billion has been issued to the account. You are not from the same world, the task taker did not choose to stay in your world, you cannot ask him to return to your side. However now, you have a chance to go to his world, may I ask if you choose?" In Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang's eyes, a trace of excited light instantly ignited. What is it? After you give up your physical autonomy, your bodies will be controlled by the artificial intelligence of the World Management Bureau on your behalf and cannot be taken back. Instead, you can accompany him in a soul state, as long as he misses you, generates emotional fluctuations for you, or falls in love with you. You can gradually possess a body to stay by his side. Otherwise, you will accompany him in this soul state until his death. The voice was still calm. They, however, did not think for even a second, decisively agreeing, "Okay, let us go find him." They really could not wait any longer. Longing was eroding their hearts every moment. Even hearing that the purpose of my coming to conquer them was to resurrect someone named Xia Yunshuang, they did not care at all. As long as they could return to his side, anything was fine. Ding! Contract reached. World teleportation in progress. After a flash of white light and a period of turmoil, Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Jutang opened their eyes again. Finding they had already come to a somewhat unfamiliar world, and not far away, was my figure walking towards them with a smile. "Xiao Yichen." Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suetang instinctively called out my name, almost moved to tears. However, in the next second, my body went straight through their bodies, running towards another woman. Yan Shuang, your work is busy. You don't have to come pick me up after work. Xie Yunshuang leaned in my arms, coquettishly encircling my waist, whispering in my arms, I can't help it, I miss you if I don't see you for a minute, husband. Let's go back early, okay? On the car along the way, the two had endless things to say, from beginning to end. Xia Yunshuang's eyes were gentle, looking at me beside her full of love, responding to me from time to time. I fed water and snacks. The skilled movements, as if done tens of thousands of times. I also habitually let her take care of me, and from time to time shared delicious snacks with her. This sweet scene deeply stung Ji Roxy and Ji Sitang's eyes. How can this be? Yachin, how could he be married? Just how much time has passed? Ji Ruoxi said in disbelief, heart pain almost suffocating. Ji Shuetang also had red eyes, standing frozen in place, squeezing out this sentence with difficulty. Was he deceived? What is so good about this woman? He loved us so much, how could he choose such a person? Impossible! Even though they said so, they had to admit in their hearts, perhaps from the very beginning, I had never loved them. Yes, I agreed to the system, to conquer them, just to save Xia Yunshuang, even being willing to die 100 times. Was this Xia Yunshuang really worth me doing this? Over these years, had I not loved them for even a single second? Then what did the deep affection in my eyes count for? Ji Ruoxi and Ji Shuetang's hearts were instantly riddled with holes. All the beliefs they had held all along were broken. I didn't love them. Only the woman named Xia Yunshuang, unable to hear these questions of theirs, I returned home. After greeting my own parents and Xia's father and mother, I pushed Xia Yunshuang back to the room. Xia Yunshuang, do you still remember the matter of conquest I told you about before? Hearing this, Xia Yunshuang's expression became solemn instantly. Of course I remember. I was saved after you suffered so much. At the moment I died protecting you, I didn't think I could still live, so the first thing after coming back to life was to marry you. We will never be separated again. Now there is news from the system again. Is it that he wants to take you back again? She hugged me nervously, her voice clearly fragile. Don't leave me, okay? They were not good to you at all. I know you don't love them. I am so guilty for not being able to stay by your side to protect you. If you leave here and go to their world again, will they hurt you again? I'm really worried. If only all these pains were borne by me, as long as my HN is happy, it's fine. I was extremely moved, hugging her tightly. Yunshuang, you have done enough for me. I also want to love you a bit more and do a bit more for you. Moreover, this time is good news. The system shows that my conquest mission is completed and rewarded 10 billion. Xia Yunshuang was in error for a moment, then also followed me laughing. Chen is so great. Chen's efforts have rewards. It is Ji Ruoxi and Ji Suetang who don't deserve your goodness. My Chen is always the best and greatest. The Ji parents and Jia parents passed by and heard their laughter, also smiling and shaking their heads. These two children have been married for a year, and they are still so childish, just like when they were little. The faces of both parents were filled with bright smiles. They were family friends and were well-acquainted friends. It was expected that the children of the two families would get together. The Ji family and the Xia family did not lack money, although not a top-tier wealthy family. They were considered wealthy. For this sudden 10 billion, I was only happy for a while. Yunshuang, how about we use this 10 billion for charity to help those families and children who are at their wits' end? Meeting my bright eyes, Xia Yunshuang nodded with a smile. I will support whatever you want to do, from beginning to end. I never mentioned Ji Ruoxi and Ji Suetang again. In my heart, they were already past tense, from beginning to end. What the two sisters brought me was only pain. How could I possibly miss them? But this was also good, at least no emotional entanglements were generated. I could also firmly love Xia Yunshuang, giving each other 100% love like her if they had been good to me from the beginning. Maybe I would not have been able to achieve such pure utilization. Dinner was ready. The whole family sat at the table with a warm and harmonious atmosphere. Watching this, the corners of Ji Roxi and Ji Zuetong's eyes turned crimson, terrifyingly silent. My room was filled with photos of me from childhood to adulthood, and from the time of babbling, Xia Yunshuang's company was always by my side. She accompanied me through countless springs and autumns, always firmly choosing me. Perhaps even I did not notice it myself. Occasionally, I would be surrounded by many friends who liked me, but Xia Yunshuang was always distant with others. Only when by my side was she vivid and gentle. This firmness and friendship, even Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suitang could not help but feel some emotion seeing it. They seemed to have nothing that could compare to Xia Yunshuang except for their identity as the Jiyu family misses. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suitang looked at their still transparent bodies, boundless sadness spreading in their hearts. The pain of the knife stabbing into the heart was still vaguely acting up with heart-wrenching pain. I did not love them, never loved them from beginning to end. When they thought through this point, they felt heart pain almost suffocating. However, what made them feel even more heart pain was far more than this. After dinner, Xia Yunshuang and I walked hand in hand in the garden to digest the meal, with a casual, nonsensical sentence. The other party could always give the desired answer. The degree of tacit understanding was something even Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Shutang could not achieve. Returning to the room, I kissed Xia Yunshuang, taking off her clothes piece by piece and walking into the bathroom, in the midst of passion. She bit my chest with a hoarse voice and whispered, "Achen, only love me, okay? Forget everything related to Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Xiatang, only love me alone." I panted and said, "I only love you alone, whether in the past, now, or in the future. I will only love you, stop being jealous, okay? I will slowly forget them." Getting a satisfactory answer, Xia Yunshuang's uneasy heart finally settled down. After a night of chaos, Xia Yunshuang and I hugged even tighter, wishing each other to never be separated again. Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Shuitang, even though they had already prepared themselves mentally, when they saw this scene with their own eyes, they still could not help but feel like a knife was twisting in their hearts. Jiyu Suitang's fists were clenched so hard her eyes were almost bursting. Wishing to rush up and give Xia Yunshuang a severe beating, warning her to get out, but she could do nothing, even lacking the ability to appear by my side. Jiyu Ruoxi's eyelids were tightly closed against that scene, yet she still heard everything. There was no possibility of escape. Her heart felt like a large hole had been cut open. With cold wind blowing in, no matter how desperate they were, they could still do nothing all along. For several days in a row, they were like wandering souls around me, telling me their heartfelt words again and again. "Yichen, we really love you. All the pain you experienced before, we let the system let us experience it all. Forgive us, okay? Yakin, give us another chance to start over. Don't be so cruel. Okay? Yichen, as long as we can be with you, even if you are unwilling to let go of Xia Yunshuang, we accept you having both of us at the same time. Whatever you want, we accept. Just don't not want us, Yachen, do you know?" As early as the first meeting, we could not control feeling a bit moved by you. Such words were said countless times, but I could never hear them. Perhaps the system could not bear their progress, or was deliberately punishing them. He suddenly came up with a voice asking me, "Host, I have always been curious. You and Jiyu Ruoxi and Jiyu Suitang experienced so much. Did you never miss them even once?" "No." I frowned slightly and said calmly, "Why did you suddenly appear and ask this for?" The system's mechanical voice was still without any waves. "This is a routine questionnaire after the completion of the mission." I did not think much, and gave a casual hum. After I returned to this world, I had almost never thought of them, in my view,